Mortgage rates dropped 3-month lows. You may have more negotiating power than ever before. Today, we're going to talk about the real estate hot or not, singing happy birthday, and we're going to jump into the comment section. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. I am Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Let's get into it.
So let's get into the first topic. But first of all, how you doing, Marcus?
What up with you, bro? I'm good. I was on the road for a minute.
You was on the road?
The highway was not friendly to a brother.
Yeah, you was trying like late today.
I was late. I was later than you were late last time.
See, today I was like mad early. I was like, because last time I was like, well, I know this man was chopping me because I was late. But
got some coffee and everything.
I love drinking coffee with cigar. It's like a because cigars got like that smoky, but like a woodsy, oaky flavor, and then the coffee just sets it off with like that, like aromatic, like top notes, like a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of coffee flavor, and like mix it all together. It's a good flavor, man. It's a good taste. And I'm smoking on Underground too.
Underground's your favorite, isn't it?
Underground's not my favorite. I like also Long Live the King, Don Carlos. I think we talked about Don Carlos last time. But yeah, if I'm gonna do anything, Undergrounds are a real good mid-level cigar. They're gonna get you where you need to be. So let's get into the top 2 real estate topics. Let's talk about mortgage rates.
Yeah, man. So rates dropped again. So of course, the whole Beardly Superior.
I forgot I'm your Beardly Superior.
I ended up on the bet.
But you know what? Actually, last time that wasn't what the bet was about. It was about the client. Remember? That's what actually the bet was about. Yeah, I listened to the episode again. I was like, oh, that wasn't even what the bet was about.
I had to say Beardly Superior because I lost the bet.
Correct, which you did. And I'm your Beardly Superior, irrespective of if you lost the bet or not. But
I'm not sure if irrespective is even a word like irregardless, but we're going to...
irrespective is a word.
Okay.
Do you want to bet on that?
I'm not betting.
Are you scared? Do you want to bet on that?
I'm not betting.
You can shake my hand now.
I'm not betting.
Are you shaking my hand?
You said it.
Are you scared to bet?
No, I'm not scared to bet that.
Because irrespective of whether I win or lose, I will still be your Beardly Superior.
You actually would be lying.
That's called word usage.
Yeah. But before we went into that, I was getting ready to be like, I was thinking about, I'm gonna get some get back on that bet. I don't like taking no L's on nothing, so I'm trying to even it up. But
you wasn't gonna even it up on the irrespective.
Yeah. So anyway,
irregardless isn't a word.
Anyway, mortgage rates have dropped to like 3-month lows. They've been up and down. We've been in the 7% range. CPI came out, dropped to 6%. They crept back up into the mid 6s. And then, with the Fed raising the Fed funds rate by 0.5 point this week, which I'm gonna kind of just swerve off real quick to let the people know that when the Fed raises the fund rates, it does not immediately touch mortgage rates. When they do that, it affects what the banks are paying each other overnight in terms of the money that's being borrowed. You might not have known that the banks are borrowing money from one another. You and I might have known that,
right.
but the average consumer doesn't really know.
Because what's the big bank called? The government loans smaller banks money at a particular interest rate.
Right. So when banks are lending money to each other, the overnight rate you went up by half a point, right? So then that in turn affects the prime rate, which prime rate in turn affects your interest rates on your home equity lines, your credit cards, your car payments, things like that, right? And then it trickles down into the mortgage rates. So what that did for us, yes, we were at like 6.5. The average rate might have been like 6.5, but the average overnight rate for a 30-year fix right now is sitting at like 6.1. Even on an FHA loan, which is a 30-year fixed mortgage, a lot of first-time buyers use it. You can get an FHA loan interest rate under 6% right now. Now, not every lender could do that because every lender
Mm.
still got to work their own margins and look at how much money they're spending versus how much they want to lend, at what rate they want to lend out, and then different risk factors per borrower.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say it's safe to say that if you are at a 640 credit score, FHA loan, 3.5% down payment, this is not a down payment assistance program conversation, but if you got money for the 3.5%, you could probably get a rate that's somewhere, under 6% right now.
So for the average person that's sitting here, and most people just go and I speak for the average guy.
Are those the same people that's for the cheap seats? Is the average guy in the cheap seats?
Us in the cheap seats, because I sit in the cheap seats. So for the average person that's looking, they go, "Yo, all right, the interest rates jumped again or whatever. I'm gonna just sit out and wait because it's like this." Let me step back. The market loves stability.
Correct.
The market does not like volatility.
Correct.
But all the money is made in volatility, and most of the money is lost during times of quote unquote stability. So I think that kind of piggybacks onto what I would say would be the second headline. So let's get into the second headline, which is now most buyers have a lot more negotiating power than they did even obviously 2 years ago, not 10 years ago, 2 years ago. There's an article here in Keeping Current Matters. One thing we're seeing a lot of, and I'm seeing this a lot with my clients, is the return of contingencies. And what's a contingency for us in the cheat seats?
Thank the Lord for it.
A contingency is basically any clause that's in the contract that states, I need to do this before we close. So a home inspection is a contingency. Appraisals are contingencies. Rent backs are contingencies. Financing contingencies are contingencies. Basically, if I don't get approved for financing, I don't got to buy this joint. And so the past 2 years, it's been like, oh, no contingencies. We're just, selling as is. We're going to remove all contingencies because you had to be competitive. If you were a buyer the last 2 years, if you were in and you sat out, it was probably because your contract had a whole bunch of contingencies in there.
Right.
Because if you're a first-time home buyer, look, you're not just going to go out there more than likely and submit a as is, no financing, no appraisal contingency. Because if you submit a contract with no appraisal contingency, if the appraisal comes in high, you got to make up that difference. You see, if the appraisal comes in low, rather, you got to make up that difference.
Yeah, you're right.
If the appraisal comes in, if you got a contract at $500,000, the appraisal comes in at $450,000, you got to make up that $50,000 if you removed your appraisal contingency. Financing contingency. If you had a financing contingency on your contract, you get denied for financing. If you removed that contingency from your contract, you had to pay no matter if you get denied for financing or not. And that's what was happening over the past 2 years. So most homeowners were saying, well, I got 17 offers on my property. I'll just take the deal that has the least amount of contingencies that gives me as a homeowner the most assurance that the deal is actually going to close.
Right.
So if you got a home inspection contingency, well, maybe you pull out on a home inspection. So I'd rather take this offer that ain't got no contingencies, because I know, well, they're going to buy it no matter what, no matter financing, no matter appraisal, no matter home inspection, they're going to buy it.
Okay. So now we talked about the national news compared to local, right?
Right.
And I'm liking the return of the contingencies, because and it's not even about the amount of applications that I'm seeing. Although applications, the buyers are more encouraged over these last few weeks to put in more applications. The numbers are up, right? But I'm encouraged by the conversations that I'm having with people, because I feel like, although we've got this national news and everybody can go online and look and go to Instagram and do whatever.
Sure.
I think Instagram's kind of become the new Google. Actually, I saw that social media is the new search engine for a lot of things.
I mean, that's where I get most of my news. I'll see it on Instagram first, and then I'll jump to Google and find the article.
Right.
Be like, oh.
Yeah. Or look to Instagram to see if there's a link to it in the bio. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? So it works. But I think, because I'm feeling good about the conversations that I'm having, I'm feeling a different spirit and vibe come off of the buyers that I'm talking to. I think it's because realtors are doing a good job of educating about the reality of what the market looks like.
And again, I think it's because again that stability where, like I said, I think a while ago, I always say the confused mind says no.
Mm-hmm.
And so when our consumers are confused, they say no because it's like I don't know, I don't get it, I don't want to lose my money.
Yeah.
But I think even like podcasts like us, not to toot our own horn, but just overall, I think that stability that's creeping back into the market. I mean, long story short, and you can tell me this, your opinion, but we're probably going to settle somewhere around 5.5%, 6% interest rates for the long term. We might drop down to like 4, maybe, but I seriously doubt it, man. I think we're going to be at like 5, 5.5 for a house. Like that's just going to be the normal.
I actually have. I do a lot of screenshotting of articles and graphics and things, and I got to go back and find it. But there's a article on Freddie Mac's website. I was doing some like deep dive research. I can't remember the number, but they were talking about the average interest rates in like the last 10 years, and then the average interest rate, it went back like 10, 20 years, 30 years. And I think the overall average was sitting at like 4.7 or something like that, right? Like a stable market has an interest rate that's somewhere between, let's say, that 4.7 and even like, let's say 5.7 to maybe even 6%. Like that, that encourages. I've been preaching this message for the last 2 weeks, really, since the last we got together, that an interest rate of 5.5 to 6 encourages buyers to buy. It encourages sellers to sell.
Right.
And it encourages builders to build.
Right.
And it encourages the person who's not trying to build, buy, or sell. They're going to sit in their home, and encourages them to think, do I have some debt that I can consolidate? Right?
Yeah.
And because if I'm paying 20% interest on a credit card, I can roll it into my house and pay a 6% interest rate on that, credit card, pay off a vehicle, whatever, and I can save money. Only do it if it makes sense, of course. But that kind of, swerves me to another subject about it's still not the best times because a lot of people refinancing got to 2 or 3% interest rate on 30-year fixed. So they got equity in the property. It's a good time to actually do a home equity line of credit, with your credit union or bank or whatever.
Why is that?
Trying to do a cash out refi. Well, because if you do a cash out refinance to consolidate debt, you're number one starting your loan over, and you don't necessarily have to, but it's not always a bad thing. But then you go into a 30-year fixed. You're pulling cash out of the property. It's a higher.
So it's basically like selling a house to the bank. They buying your loan out and then giving you a new loan.
Well, yeah. So you end up getting a brand new loan. So let's say that your client comes to me. You say, Marcus, they want to refinance. Okay, cool. I got them a 3% interest rate 2 years ago, but they've got $100,000 worth of equity, and they need to consolidate and pay off some debt or whatever. Okay, cool. I'm going to say, based on what you want to do not touch that 30-year fix at 3%. That's we don't touch it, right?
right.
Because that money won't ever be as cheap.
Right.
But then you have $100,000 worth of equity. Maybe we can tap into 50 or 60 grand of it, depending on the overall, scenario. But then let's go to your credit union or to your bank and say, hey, I'd like to tap into the equity. They will give you a second line. They will give you a second loan, and that loan will be attached to the house. And if it's a fixed rate, it's a fixed rate. But if it's a variable rate, it will move up and down based upon whatever the market rates are doing, like we talked about earlier.
How much of that equity can you get?
On a cash out refinance, typically we're not allowing you to touch any more than 80% of the equity in your house or 80% of the value of your house.
What about on a line?
Sometimes your lines can go up to 100%. They'll let you touch all of it.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But you got to consider, as a homeowner, you got to think smart,
right?
Because you ain't gonna be able to double dip. I get a lot of people trying to double dip. It's like, I already pulled out a line on my. I had somebody call me from Cali, and she's like, yeah, I did a cash out refi. I put out $20,000. Okay, how much out for? Well, maybe like $3. But you already double dip. You already pulled out of it. You got to wait for the market to come back.
Yeah.
Or you just got to sell it. And remember, you can't sell your house twice. Because essentially, if you get a line or a cash out refi, you sold your house.
Well, and if you do sell it, you have your first mortgage at 3%, and then whatever the balance is on your equity line, you got to pay it off too.
So that
you might walk away with nothing.
Right, exactly. Because you walked away with it earlier.
Yeah, you got the benefit, you
accessed it earlier, so you can't double dip. You can't say, I'm gonna pull out this line, and then Now I want to sell it, so I want to make more. No, it don't work that way. If you get it early, you ain't gonna get it later.
Well, and here's what I always tell clients: like, you don't, if you're going to do a home equity line, don't take out all the equity, right?
Mhm.
Because if you do sell it, you want to be able to walk away with something, and if the market moves, you still want to have some room in there. Like, tap 80, maybe 90%. Leave yourself a little bit of cushion, right? That leaves you with 10 or 20% equity in the house still after doing it. But remember that you on an equity line, it operates kind of like a credit card.
Right.
So if they give you a $50,000 equity line, you know, you pay your closing costs might be $2,000. And it is cheaper, by the way, to do an equity line than a full cash out refi, because you don't have to do all the taxes and all the full blown closing costs, right?
Right.
But let's say you start off with a balance of $4,000 on a $50,000 line. Your monthly payment is only based upon that $4,000 that you've used. And as you pay it, it goes down. Let's say you need to remodel a bathroom. It cost you 10 grand. Now let's say you haven't paid that 4,000 down. You need 10,000 more to do the bathroom. Now you're at 14,000, and your payment is based upon that $14,000. And a lot of times they'll amortize it over a 30-year time frame. But the minimum payment required on it is usually interest only. So the payment is cheaper as well. So you can benefit greatly from that. If you don't know how to do it, holler at your boy. I'll walk you through it. Guess what? I'm actually gonna be able to lend that in a little bit. Got you.
So let's get to the real estate hot
Or not.
Wait, we gotta do it right.
No.
We gotta do it right.
You messed it up.
You messed it up. You weren't ready.
You said hot. Did I say it or not?
No, you was late. All right, right here. So now let's get to the real estate hot
Or not.
No, it's a pause. Hot
Or not.
All right. All right, here we go. So let's get to the real estate hot or not. Solid.
Two-part argument.
That was tight. That's what she said. Come on, grow up. Marcus. Grow up. So real estate hot or not. So we're gonna veer a little bit off for the real estate squad.
This is
real estate wire
the
squad.
Christmas edition.
You want to do the Christmas edition?
It's kind of Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Hybrid birthday.
Holiday for y'all that don't celebrate Christmas. All right, here we go. Look, so I'll ask you, real estate hot or not? And if you got kids, we're gonna be doing some myth busting here. Let's. So you might want to give y'all a warning. So let's talk about which one you want. Well, we gotta. Oh, fuck you.
Hey, go right it.
What do you think about? What do you think about Santa Claus?
Oh, you want to do that?
You do. What do you think? Hot or not, Santa Claus?
No, he ain't real. But we said we're gonna do the myth busting. But
he's real in the hearts of children.
He's real in the hearts of some people that still think he out here. But like Elvis and Tupac. But yeah, he ain't real. But I can appreciate the idea of what it is.
Can you tell your daughter about Santa Claus?
Let me tell you something. For the first couple of years, it was still kind of the Santa thing. Taya went to school like 2 weeks. Within the last 2 weeks, the principal called because kids in her class were talking about Santa being real, and Taya blew it up. It was like, Santa's not real.
A girl after my own heart.
And she straight up said, "That's your mom and dad giving gifts."
Yo,
shout out, shorty, baby girl Taya, right?
Son, your daughter is a G. I feel the same way as your daughter, because I don't ever plan on telling my son anything about Santa Claus. Like I said, if your kid's in the car, go fast forward. Because I'm just like, it's like this. First of all,
I ain't trying to give him no credit.
I'm not giving somebody no credit for that. Second,
we work hard.
I'm working too hard. Like, why would you blame some big fat man, some big fat white dude jumping down my chimney? If he jumped down my chimney, he gonna get caught on fire anyway. But the question that I always had when I was a little kid,
in a couple of ways,
I was like, "Yo, right? He gonna feel the rain of fire because I'm coming. All three of us coming through. Pick, who it is?
Yeah, that's it. Ask questions later.
I'm like, who's this in a red suit coming down my chimney? Black. I'm like this, yo, because I wasn't raised believing in no Santa Claus, and I heard the arguments where it's like, oh, let's leave the magic in Christmas for the kid. But I'm like, yo, kids' lives is magical enough, man. They got wild imaginations. They don't need us to make up some ridiculous story about some guy who can defy the laws of energy conservation of mass. Like he can defy the laws of gravity and time and space. Just to give them gifts that I paid for to make it more magical. Like my kid can play. I bought my kid hundreds of dollars worth of gifts and toys and educational toys and Montessori toys and all that stuff. And the dude just sits there and plays with like cardboard boxes and spatulas. He's more interested in playing with.
And he's all boy.
He's all boy. He's like, yo, I'll play with the wrapper inside of the gift that you just got me. The little bubble wrap. Like he loves bubble wrap.
So what you're saying is, when you buy a gift, present, whatever, it's kind of wasted anyway because he's not playing with the
job. Like
he's playing with the
job. Right. I'm saying that he doesn't need me to interject imagination into his life. He's already kids are already imaginative at that age, irrespective of if we make up.
It's 2 times.
If we shake my hand right now, we can hit dictionary.com. Why are you scared? Why are you scared?
No, I'm not.
Because I got another one coming.
Hey, but you know what?
Shake my hand right now.
There is a actually challenge out here. I wonder how many followers actually took us up on that because I was trying.
Ain't nobody did because I realized that wasn't really a bet. That was a challenge. It wasn't a bet.
But I'm still trying to get you to do push-ups online.
Why are you trying to get me to do push-ups?
I want to see if you can do them.
Look at that guy.
Oh wow!
Look at that.
What you want to do?
You gonna do some squats?
You look like a maroon.
I'll do push-ups. You gonna do sit-ups?
Do what?
Sit-ups. Yeah, you ain't even heard of sit-ups in a long time, huh? You forgot what sit-ups were. Sit what?
Wait a minute.
Sit-ups. Sit-ups. Yeah.
Tells me the sit-ups.
On your challenge, it's not a bet unless both parties have something at stake. You can't just say, I bet where Dan got to do push-ups and Marcus gonna do nothing. No, you gotta have something at stake too. So if I'm gonna do push-ups, you're gonna do sit-ups. We can shake on that right now. I can for the real estate squad. My hand is out. Let's go. My hand is out.
What's the challenge though? What's the way?
You created the challenge. You said once we get 50, if we get 50 subscribers, once we get 50 more subscribers, then I'll do 25 push-ups. You do 25 sit-ups. Let's go. Right now. Everybody's waiting. Shake my hand. Let's go.
I ain't tripping out no sit-up.
Let me give y'all let me hip y'all to something.
Dan is super loud, ain't he, y'all?
Hey, I can adjust the volume.
That's what
my mom. I used to get in trouble when I was a kid for that, but I realized that I have a voice for public speaking.
You do,
and whenever I need no mics, I have a mic for the aesthetic, but I have a mic so that I can balance out your soft ass voice. Listen, my public speaking voice.
I'm an R&B singer.
You're an R&B singer. Let's go, lady. Yeah, so I ain't down with that Santa Claus stuff, man.
Listen, Tiki, Stevie, y'all know what time it is. Hey, listen, we would kill some Drew Hill and
let's get to the next real estate hot or not. You was talking about this. I talked about this on my IG, but let me hear what you think about this. Happy birthday, singing happy birthday.
I cannot wait.
Birthdays in general. What is your opinion on that? Hot or not?
Well,
first tell me if it's hot or not.
Singing happy birthday? I think it's hot.
Okay, tell me why do you think this?
I just don't know life without it, right? So it's kind of cool for me when somebody can sing happy birthday and it's all right? Like my wife is a singer, like so when she sings, like she's like trying to sing it for real, like.
Oh, she wanted to be whatever, like harmonizing and.
So when you said it online,
soprano, alto, tenor, she be directing people.
So like when the family gets together, our family gets together. Like I'm come from a family of singers, and so does she. So it's like 3-4 part harmony. Like somebody might jump on the piano.
Kill me right now.
No, but it's dope though, right? Just because it's like we make it melodic. But to your point, the song doesn't have the proper harmony structure on it. Just like the ABC song, the alphabet song, that doesn't have the proper like melodic structure to it either. But we still sing it, right? But I just like the happy birthday thing, and I think it's just a cool moment of celebration. When you were talking about, but it wasn't so much about the song that got me. You were talking about like when people were like, you ain't gonna do nothing for your birthday. Like, no, I just want to be left alone.
I am not a fan of celebrating birthdays. I think it's pointless, a pointless ritual. And again, like I said, I'll say this for everybody, for you listening. If you want me to celebrate your birthday, I will do that.
Yeah.
If you say, Dan, I want you to buy me gifts, I will buy you gifts. I will sing happy birthday at your birthday party. And by the same
gift, you got to ask for it though.
I'll bring you a gift. If I'm coming to your birthday party, I'm going to bring a gift. I'm not a savage.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised by wolves.
But I'm saying, if I say, Dan, like come through, like, and if you said if I ask you to bring me a gift,
sure.
I think that's
no. You don't have to ask me to give you a gift. Like you say, give me a gift. No, I'm saying if you choose to participate in the ritual of birthday parties, I'm going to bring you a gift.
But that's why you said to your point on the video was like the gift and the celebration ain't for you. It should be probably for your mama because she did all the work.
That's my point. It should be for. Why do we celebrate birthdays to individuals when the individual has done nothing to be born? You've done nothing to be born. Like, why are we celebrating this non-accomplishment as if it's an accomplishment? We should be celebrating the parents and say, yo, congratulations on keeping that kid alive. Because my son right now don't know nothing about a birthday. We brought him into this world. We decided we wanted to bring him here by force. We said, we're going to make you alive.
So your friends and family should celebrate
me and my wife for keeping this human alive low these many years. I'm like, and for me personally, it's like this. By the same token, I feel like if I choose that I do not want to celebrate my birthday, and like, well, that should be respected. And
yeah, if you don't want to do nothing,
when I say it though, it's like sacrilege. People are like, "Oh my God, you don't want to celebrate your birthday? Why not? What's wrong? I hear some trauma." Like, no, I just don't. It's not like it don't get me off. Like,
but if you said that to like, I ain't like that. So if you were like, no, I'm just gonna be chilling in the house and watch this.
It's the same thing when I tell people I ain't seen certain movies. They're like, you ain't never seen.
Now that's
you don't celebrate your birthday.
I don't do the birthday.
No, I don't.
But I will see what's happening with the. I think you haven't seen certain movies.
I don't care. I'm like, look, it's like this. I don't care about birthdays. I celebrate my wife's birthday. She loves it, and I give her gifts. I'm not a Grinch, but I'm saying the same respect should be paid to somebody who doesn't want to celebrate.
I got you.
And should just go. Even with, so you want to send me a happy birthday text? Okay, cool. I guess I'm up. And to me, it's the obligation that I have to sit here while people sing happy birthday to me. And get happy birthday,
feel special at all?
I don't want to feel special. I have no need to feel special. I'm. There is no other human on this planet that's like me. So we're all special. Everybody's special.
I got you, and you're right.
I don't need a day to feel special.
But I'm saying, like, in a sense, it doesn't make you think like have a heart of gratitude or nothing like that. Be like, yo, these people do think enough about me to be like, not even just about singing, but they're like they're celebrating you.
No.
Okay. Listen, I'm with it. Now, I'm not gonna talk about the
movie.
Say
it. What?
It had nothing to do with the birthday party. It made what you said about like making fun of you about the movies. Mm-hmm. It made me think about this new movie I just saw.
What?
Emancipation. Will Smith.
Man, I'm tired of slave movies, man. You seen that, Giant?
I watched it.
Another one?
I did watch it. It was
good. It good?
It was good. It was real good. It was.
Did Will Smith smack anybody?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He Chris Rock somebody on the train?
Matter of fact, I think he killed this dude with a shovel.
What?
Like, I think it was a shovel, pickaxe or something.
Was it like a spade shovel or was it like a rounded shovel?
I think it was a spade shovel because
he smacked it with a hoe? Because
what happened was some dude that was
asking. People want to know. He smacked a hoe with a hoe?
So he got taken from his family to go help build this railroad, and while there was a bunch of other slaves helping them build the railroad, one of the older dudes died. So the slave driver dude, whatever, was like, pick him and drag him or whatever. So he had to drag him over, and he was already plotting because the dude had been messing with him anyway. And so he dragged him over, and they had an open pit of like all the bodies that had been dying while working on this railroad. So he dumped the dude in there, and he was like, sprinkle that lie, da 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 da. And something happened. I can't remember what it was that happened. Man, when it was the right opportunity, he smacked that dude with that shovel. And that's when the movie took off. Like it was. You got to watch. It's a real good one.
Is it on like that Django Unchained vibe, like the slave win type movie?
He did get his freedom.
My thing is this.
He ended up fighting.
I think I said this in one of the other episodes. Why, like, black people, why the only movies, and this goes to a larger, I'm a conspiracy theorist, y'all. So if y'all haven't picked that up by now, I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I don't think it's more conspiracy theory. I think it's more economics than conspiracy theories. Because most of the things that we thought were conspiracy theories 2 years ago have been proven to be true. About, masks and all that stuff. But I don't want to get deplatformed. But anyway, y'all, if y'all know, y'all know. So I'm like, why the only movies?
Podcast. We know we got like 8 podcasts.
Ooh,
we just put that into the category of the different podcasts.
Oh, okay.
We talk about the math.
I'm thinking this. Why the only movies that black people get on a large scale are all slave movies. Not only, but like they gotta be. I'm like, can we make like some black superhero movies, some black like detective movies, or some? I mean, think about all these white characters
Yeah,
that
Shaft.
get right. We got Shaft and Black Panther. That's it. And I'm like, why not? You know, like I was watching this movie the other day about I think it was called Extraction with the dude from Thor who got like 800 movies where he's the main
I feel like
superhero. We don't got no black characters that do those type of movies. Those like Jim Caviezel, like what's the dude from he played in Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt. We don't got no black Chris Pratt type
who plays in a
actor
bunch of things.
that goes in and like just be crushing.
You're talking about like from an action
hero, black action heroes, or some movies that are like Africa themed, where we have like some of the gods from Africa, like Ma'at, Osiris, that they make into superheroes, like they do with Achilles, where we had the Clash of the Titans, or like the Titan, whatever the joint where Brad Pitt, remember he was Achilles, and all these different movies about Greek gods they have, and they make them into like these super. We don't got none of the black Egyptian, ancient African gods that they make movies about. Only movies we get are slave movies.
Man, so you know the country in which we reside.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that now. There's an element of I'm proud to be an American, right? I don't know an African American. I'm a Christian man before I do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm a black man, and then I'm American, and I'm a father and all that stuff. I don't know that even really is pertinent to that topic, but I just need to throw it out there. But in terms of this country, we know what this country was founded upon. Like it was shoplifting at its greatest I level.
Get that.
Right? So if you have something that's going to be produced in this country, it's not going to be to highlight the greatness of where your stolen goods came from.
I'm saying, why not? Like, why not have a movie about Benjamin Carson?
Well,
Carver, right? Where what's his name? Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver. Why not have a movie about him where he's like kicking ass? You know what I'm saying? They'd have movies about.
Wait a minute. George Washington Carver wasn't his role though.
No,
that wasn't who he was in real life.
But how do you know that? What about the movie? They had a movie about. It was called The Illusionist. There's so much creativity around our black abolitionists. Why not make movies? They made this movie called The Illusionist, where it was about Nikola Tesla and the other Edison. That was like the backdrop, and then they had like it's a really good movie. But basically, Nikola Tesla wasn't no superhero, but they wrote him into this movie where he was like this like cool ass character. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't about slavery. It was set in like the 1800s. Like there are more movies that could be made other than Rosa Parks sitting on the back of the bus. Marching of Selma, slavery movies, Emancipation, Django Unchained, Roots, all the other little slave movies. There was another slave movie where they was like, it's like, man, I'm
12 years a slave.
12 years a slave.
Well, okay, so again, that's another podcast, right? Because we did a lot of conversation about that. But I will say this: Samuel L. Jackson might be. I mean, he might be the only chance that we got to keep it going or get to that place, because he's Nick Fury or whatever he is in and I'm not a big comic book dude. So matter of fact, I'm not a comic book person at all. So and real talk, I ain't even seen the second Black Panther yet, but I will.
I ain't seen it either. I heard it was good though.
Yeah, I need to. I just been busy this month.
So let's get to the comment section. One comment that I got on one of my Instagram story posts, I put out a comment, and you guys can feel free to comment in the YouTube section as well. But basically, the comment was, I'm not gonna settle. I put out a post. What do you as far as the buying houses? What do you want us to talk about? And basically, the comment that came back and said, I'm not gonna settle.
But what is the settling piece though? Settle for what? Less what she dreamed or they dreamed of?
First of all, I think it's kind of sexist of you to assume that it was a she.
Only because
sex.
Well, my bad. I should have let that out. I know. We talked, so I know.
No, it was a sheep. It wasn't cheap, but it's like this. And I've said this on the stories, and I think that like it's not so much about settling. I don't want to settle. Okay, it's not so much that you don't want to settle. Is the question is, what are you settling for?
Right.
Right, because if you're shopping for houses, for homes, and you see something and I just don't. Well, what are you settling for? Are you renting? You're going to settle for paying somebody else's mortgage? Are you going to settle for not being able to take your tax deduction or your interest rate? Are you settling for not being able to own your own home and build equity and be able to pass that equity down to the next generation? Because that's what you're settling for. If what you want, and look, long story short, we all want more than what we have right now.
Correct.
That's just the human drive. That's humanity. I think we all have that. But to say I'm not going to do anything until I can get exactly what I want, to me is a short term. It's a short term thinking. It's a short term mindset.
Yeah, and I think there's a we just gonna talk real.
Of course.
I think there's an element of selfishness in that. Right? Now I look at selfishness two ways. Sometimes like when you got to think about yourself for like self-preservation.
Sure.
Like I'm being selfish in a sense to make sure that I'm straight because maybe something on the external is toxic, right? There's a good sense of selfishness. Maybe there's another word for it, but that's the only word that I can think of because again, I don't have PG County education.
Why
like you. I mean, PG County.
All my PG listeners, go ahead and DM Coach Marcus, Mortgage Marcus on IG.
That's where we got that word from earlier. But anyway, but
irrespective is a word.
But I think I'm just saying I ain't learned it in school. You did.
I know
so
you
PG
didn't.
County
You didn't finish high school.
You're stupid. But anyway, but I think that mindset of like I'm not going to settle is a selfish mindset because I do hear it. I come across it quite often, and that's the only thing that I can kind of gather. And it's no judgment in it, but it is what it is because you don't want to selfish or you don't want to settle, and that person doesn't want to settle, and they want what they want right now, right?
Right now.
But you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm an act now, I want what I want right now. But then you don't see the long-term benefits of operating with purpose and with proper education and guidance. So instead of that benefits not only just you, it actually benefits those that are immediately around you and those that come from that, the 2 and 3 degrees of separation. So and then when I encounter some of these folks that say that, it's like, oh, I want this 6% interest rate, but you got a 540 credit score and you won't take the step to fix the credit first, right?
Right.
Or your credit might be all right because it's taking time to recover, but you got a $13,000 repossession on your, or you bailed out on your previous apartment and that money that's still on your credit and you still owe. There's a number of things, or I just went from I've only been been self-employed for the last 7-9 months.
Yeah, right.
And I'm still kind of operating at a loss and the wait. Or I've been self-employed for a number of years and I'm showing negative income on my tax return. There's a number of things that haven't yet happened for you to be able to obtain the thing that you say that you want. But I want it right now.
And think about that. Every decision you make can be considered settling.
For sure.
Right? So
for sure.
I'm not gonna pay this bill. Well, then you're settling for not paying the bill. You're settling for a late payment.
But don't get mad when 40 points is off your credit because
if you're mad at the consequences of your own behavior, that's not settling. And the key to the question, the statement, I'm not settling. Grab something, man. Get out of that mindset of I'm not going to settle because I can't get what I want right now. I mean, people, I sold this guy we were at 1.25 million. And when I went and talked to that dude, he was like, yeah, it doesn't really have everything I want, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. And to me,
he did it. He did.
Of course he bought it. And the joint had like one parking space. It was in DC. But on that level, he still didn't have everything that he wanted. And if you're looking for a $200,000 house and you're not going to buy anything because you can't afford a $300,000 house, that doesn't make any sense. Buy the $200,000 house, live in it, build the equity, and then get what you want later. It's called delayed gratification.
The first home is never the final home.
Right.
Like I mean, it got to start somewhere.
Right. It's called a starter home because that's where you're going to start.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot. And to me, I think it's just it shows a short-term thinking, a short-term mindset.
Yeah.
Where, I'm not going to settle. But you're settling anyway, because you're settling for paying somebody else's mortgage. You're settling for not building equity. And it was funny. I was sitting in a class the other day, and they're like, "Well, when is the best time?" I'll ask you to see if you. When is the best time to buy a house? When is the best time to buy a home?
When you're ready to buy a home.
Mm-hmm. But if you ask anybody else, when was the best time to buy real estate?
If I ask anybody else,
just ask them on the street.
They'll probably say like 2020, 2021. Remember
They're always going to say 5 years ago. That's what they say. When was the best time to buy? 5 years ago was the best time. Man, it was a real good time back then. Man, it was 5 years ago. But guess what? Today, 5 years from now, it's going to be 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're always looking, oh man, I should have bought 5 years ago. Well, buy now, because 5 years from now, you're going to look like a genius.
Today is tomorrow's yesterday.
So if you like this podcast, we want you to put a comment at the bottom of this podcast on all platforms that you're listening to right now.
Like it,
subscribe, and then share the podcast to your friends and family. We really appreciate that. And if you're on YouTube, to all our friends and family on YouTube, like, subscribe, share this podcast. I'm Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And we are out.